right, get ready because today we are going to be diving deep into a topic that might sound a little strange.
Okay.
We're going to be talking about the carnivore diet.
Uh-huh.
You know, an all-meat diet.
Interesting.
And we're going to be looking at its potential impact on mental health.
Oh, okay.
I know it might sound a little out there.
Yeah.
Like just meat.
Yeah. That's
really for mental health.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But the excerpt that you sent over actually makes some pretty bold claims about how, maybe bitching plants could lead to better mental clarity and even mood stability and emotional well-being if you switch to just animal-based foods.
Oh, right.
So I think it would be really interesting to dig into the science behind these claims and see what we can find.
Sounds good. Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, so to start off,
Yeah.
the article questions modern diets. It suggests that even the ones we consider healthy
Right.
might be lacking some crucial nutrients that our brains need
Yeah.
to function.
To function optimally.
Yeah, optimally.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because we're always told to eat fruits and veggies, right?
Right. Exactly.
But this article is kind of saying that our brains might actually be craving something totally different.
yeah.
What kind of nutrients are we talking about here that could be missing?
Yeah.
And how could that impact our mental state?
The article really focuses on the brain thriving on this delicate balance of vitamins and minerals and fatty acids.
Right.
And it's saying that if it's missing even one of those things, things can really start to go haywire.
Yeah.
And so it specifically points to deficiencies in B vitamins,
Okay.
omega-3s,
Yeah.
zinc, iron, and vitamin D
Got it.
as like potential causes
Yeah.
behind anxiety, depression, even brain fog,
Right. Brain fog. Yeah.
which we all experience.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
good.
So if someone's listening to this
Yeah.
and they're feeling a little sluggish mentally,
Yeah.
or maybe their mood's been off, could that be a sign that they're not getting enough of these essential nutrients?
It's definitely a possibility worth exploring.
Yeah.
Now, this is where the carnivore diet comes into play.
Okay.
The article argues that animal-based foods offer a much more efficient way
Okay.
for your body to access those nutrients.
I see.
And it all kind of comes down to bioavailability.
Okay.
Think of it like the key
Yeah.
that unlocks those nutrients and lets your body actually use them.
Got it.
So the argument is that, like, a steak, for example,
Right.
delivers iron in a way that your body can easily absorb and use
Okay.
compared to, let's say, a plate of spinach.
Interesting. So even if you're eating your fruits and veggies,
Right.
you might not be getting the same, effectiveness out of those
It's
nutrients.
the same bang for your buck.
Yeah. The same bang for your buck as you would
Exactly.
on the carnivore diet.
That's the idea that the article is putting forward.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And it highlights a couple of specific examples, like vitamin B12,
Right.
which is super crucial for nerve function and mood regulation.
Yeah.
It's abundant in meat, fish, and eggs,
Okay.
but it's often lacking in plant-based diets.
Right.
And so if your B12 levels are low,
Yeah.
you might experience fatigue, brain fog,
Uh-huh.
and even mood changes.
Gotcha.
Then there's omega-3s,
Right.
which are those superstar fatty acids that support brain health,
Yeah.
and they've been linked to a lower risk of depression.
Wow.
And the article emphasizes how important EPA and DHA are.
Okay.
Those are two types of omega-3s.
Gotcha.
And you find them primarily in fatty fish,
Okay.
like salmon and mackerel.
So loading up on salmon
Yeah.
could be like a spa day for your brain.
In a way, yeah.
That's awesome.
And let's not forget about zinc and iron.
Okay.
So zinc plays a key role in cognitive function and mood regulation.
Uh-huh.
And iron is essential for transporting oxygen to the brain
Right.
and keeping those neurons firing.
Yeah.
You can get these minerals from plant-based sources,
Yeah.
but the article points out that they're more easily absorbed
What?
from animal sources like red meat and seafood.
This is really interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like you're making me rethink my grocery list.
Yeah.
What about vitamin D?
Sure.
I know it's linked to mood, but I always think about sunlight.
Right. Sunlight's a great source.
Yeah.
But did you know that you can also find it
Mm.
naturally in fatty fish, liver,
Oh, wow.
and egg yolks?
Really?
Yeah. The article links low vitamin D to seasonal affective disorder,
Right.
which is like that winter blues that
Yeah.
can really drag you down,
Definitely.
as well as anxiety.
Huh.
So it suggests that incorporating these food sources of vitamin D
Yeah.
into your diet could be a really valuable way
Okay.
to support your mood,
Gotcha.
especially during those darker months.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about how the carnivore diet might help with nutrient deficiencies.
Right.
But the article also talks about blood sugar
Yeah.
and how that can affect mental health.
Yeah.
And that's something that I know I've definitely experienced myself.
Uh-huh.
You know those afternoon slumps where you can barely keep your eyes open,
Oh, yeah.
let alone focus on work?
Sure.
It's like, oh, man.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, those energy crashes,
Uh-huh.
they're often linked to fluctuations in your blood sugar.
Okay.
So like when you eat a meal that's high in refined carbohydrates,
Right.
your blood sugar spikes.
Okay.
It gives you that like temporary boost,
Yeah.
but then it just crashes super
Yeah.
quickly,
Yeah.
leaving you feeling totally drained.
Yeah, and irritable.
Irritable, mentally foggy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
And so the carnivore diet,
right.
because it's so low in carbs,
Uh-huh.
would help avoid those spikes and crashes.
Exactly.
Right.
The article suggests that by sticking to mostly protein and fat,
Uh-huh.
you can keep your blood sugar levels way more stable
Yeah.
throughout the day, which leads to more sustained energy and better mental focus.
So it's like trading in a roller coaster.
Yeah.
For a nice smooth drive.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Much more enjoyable ride.
For sure, especially if you're someone like me who needs
Yeah.
pretty consistent energy to get through the day.
Absolutely.
Okay, so there's another really interesting part of this whole carnivore diet thing
Yeah.
that I want to talk about, and that's the gut-brain connection.
Right. The gut-brain axis.
Yeah, it's so fascinating to me how connected those two things are.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your gut is home to just trillions of bacteria that are
Yes.
called the gut microbiome.
Yeah.
And this bustling community of microbes
Uh-huh.
plays a huge role in your overall health,
Right.
including your mental well-being.
Wow.
And it's way more important than we used to think.
I see.
Yeah.
So how does the carnivore diet fit into this gut-brain thing?
Well, the article argues that a lot of modern diets,
Especially the ones that are high in processed food,
right?
sugar, refined grains,
Yeah.
they can really disrupt the balance of your gut microbiome.
Gotcha.
And this can lead to inflammation
Okay.
in your gut.
Yeah.
And that can send signals to the brain,
Wow.
affecting mood, cognition, even behavior.
So it's not just about what we're feeding our brain directly,
Right.
but it's about how we're feeding our gut bacteria.
Exactly. Yeah. Taking care of that microbiome is
Yeah.
super important.
So the carnivore diet, by cutting out those potential disruptors, could maybe create a healthier environment for the microbiome.
That's what the article is arguing.
Okay.
Yeah, that it basically creates this more favorable environment
Right.
for a healthy microbiome to kind of take over and flourish.
Yeah.
And then that could reduce inflammation.
Right.
And that could then potentially benefit mental health.
Like hitting the reset button on your gut.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, this connection between diet and mental health,
Uh-huh.
it's pretty amazing.
It is. It's amazing how much your diet can affect your mind.
Are there any other ways that the carnivore diet could help?
Sure. The article also mentions how important protein is
Okay.
when it comes to neurotransmitter production.
Right.
Neurotransmitters are like the chemical messengers in your brain
Yeah.
that control mood, motivation, sleep,
Uh-huh.
even appetite.
Wow.
And guess what? They're made from protein. Protein, you got it.
Okay.
Amino acids are the building blocks of protein.
Right.
And they're essential for making neurotransmitters.
Okay.
And the carnivore diet is high in protein.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives you this constant supply of amino acids,
Okay.
making sure your brain has what it needs to produce those mood regulating chemicals.
So if you're not getting enough protein,
Yeah.
could that mess with your mood?
It definitely could, yeah.
Wow.
The article talks about a few specific amino acids
Yeah.
that are really important for neurotransmitter production.
Uh-huh.
For example, tryptophan. It helps to create serotonin,
Okay.
which is that like feel-good neurotransmitter.
Yes.
Low levels of serotonin have been linked to depression and anxiety.
I see.
And while you can find tryptophan in some plant-based foods,
Uh-huh.
it's way more abundant in animal-based protein,
Okay.
like turkey, chicken, beef.
So it's like you're giving your brain the right tools
Yeah, just
to do its job.
Yeah, giving it what it needs to function at its best.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, what about food sensitivities?
Right.
Could those affect mental health too?
That's another thing the article brings up.
Okay.
It says that some people might be sensitive to certain foods
Uh-huh.
and they don't even realize it.
Yeah.
And these sensitivities
Yeah.
can trigger inflammation
Okay.
throughout the body, including the brain.
Wow.
And that can cause all sorts of symptoms.
Like what?
Brain fog, fatigue, mood swings, even anxiety.
So you could be eating what you think is a healthy diet,
Right.
but something in there is actually messing with you.
Exactly. There could be these hidden culprits
Yeah.
that are causing problems.
Wow, that's crazy.
And the carnivore diet, by eliminating some of the most common food sensitivities like gluten, dairy, and some plant compounds like lectins,
Right.
it could potentially provide relief for those people.
It's like taking out the irritant
Yeah.
and letting your body just calm down.
Right.
So it makes you wonder how many people are struggling
Yeah, it really does.
with things that could be traced back to food.
Absolutely.
So what are some signs
Yeah.
that someone might have a food sensitivity?
Well, they can show up in all sorts of ways.
Okay.
Some common signs are digestive issues like bloating, gas, diarrhea, constipation,
Right.
even skin problems like
Right.
eczema or acne,
Wow.
headaches, fatigue, brain fog,
Right.
and mood changes like irritability and anxiety.
Okay, so if you think you might have a food sensitivity,
Yeah.
what should you do?
The first step is to really start paying attention to your body
Well-
and how it reacts to different foods.
So like keep a food journal.
Yeah, exactly. Keep track of what you eat,
Okay.
how you feel physically and mentally,
Uh-huh.
and see if you notice any patterns.
Gotcha.
If you notice certain foods that always seem to trigger bad symptoms,
Yeah.
it might be worth trying to eliminate them from your diet
Okay.
for a while and see if things improve.
Right.
You can always gradually reintroduce them one by one
Uh-huh.
and really pinpoint which ones are causing the issue.
It's like being a detective for your own body.
Exactly.
What if someone's curious about the carnivore diet,
Yeah,
but they're not ready to just dive right in?
right.
Is there anything they can do?
Yeah, for sure. You don't have to go all in right away.
Okay.
A good place to start might be to gradually increase
Okay.
those nutrient-rich animal-based foods we talked about.
Like the salmon and the red meat?
Exactly. Focus on getting more fatty fish,
Uh-huh.
grass-fed meats, and pasture-raised eggs
Right.
into your diet. So maybe swap out that salad for salmon a couple times a week,
Right.
or add an extra egg to breakfast.
Yeah, those are good ideas.
Small changes
Yeah.
can make a big difference.
That's true.
And you can also try to cut back on processed foods,
Mhm.
sugary drinks,
Uh-huh.
refined grains.
Like a gentle shift toward eating better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be this drastic overnight change.
Right.
Just gradual steps in the right direction.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And that brings us to another point that the article makes,
Okay.
which is the anecdotal evidence.
Yeah.
The article mentions that some people with mental health challenges like
Mhm.
mood disorders, ADHD, and autism have seen
Uh-huh.
like significant relief from their symptoms while on this diet.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But it is important to say that
Yeah.
these are anecdotal, not scientific.
You're right. Exactly. Yeah. We always have to take those with a grain of salt.
For sure. But it does make you wonder, right?
Mhm.
If maybe we've been kind of overlooking the impact of diet on mental health.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the carnivore diet
Yeah.
and its potential effects on mental well-being,
Uh-huh.
what are some things that our listeners should take away from this?
So first of all,
Yeah.
it's important to remember that everything we've talked about today
Yeah.
is based on this one article.
Right.
And it's not medical advice.
Yeah, for sure.
If anyone's thinking about making big changes to their diet,
Uh-huh.
especially if they have any health conditions,
Right.
it's crucial to talk to a doctor first
For sure.
to get personalized advice.
Yeah, definitely always err on the side of caution.
Absolutely.
But I think this deep dive has highlighted some really important things.
It has.
We've talked about nutrient deficiencies,
Right.
the impact of blood sugar,
Uh-huh.
that gut-brain connection.
And the fascinating connection.
Yeah,
Yeah, and how important protein is
Yeah.
for neurotransmitter productions.
right. And that some mental health challenges could be linked
Yeah.
to food sensitivities.
Absolutely.
That's a lot to process.
It is. There's a lot there.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I think it's really empowering
it is.
to realize that we actually have some control over
Yeah.
our mental state
Yeah,
through the choices we make about what we eat.
exactly. It's not like a quick fix or anything,
Right.
but food can definitely play a role.
It's a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we go,
Yeah.
I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay, I like it.
What if, instead of focusing on what we should or shouldn't eat,
Yeah.
we paid more attention to how different foods make us feel?
That's a great point.
Yeah, it's like a more mindful way of eating
It is, yeah.
instead of just following rules.
It's about tuning into your body
Yeah,
and figuring out what works for you.
exactly. So maybe the key to feeling our best mentally
Yeah.
is paying attention to those little cues, like the energy dips, the brain fog,
Mood swings.
yeah, and then figuring out which foods help us avoid those things.
Exactly.
So it's like we become investigators
Yes.
of our own well-being.
I love that.
So to all our listeners out there,
Yeah.
we challenge you to go on your own culinary adventure.
Absolutely.
Become a detective
Yeah.
of your own well-being.
Figure out what makes you feel your best.
Yes, discover the foods that make your brain and body sing.
Love that.
Until next time, happy exploring.
Happy exploring!